The moment this coastal patrol crew spotted a strange blue boat drifting alone in the ocean, they had no idea it was about to drag them into the most terrifying mission of their lives. This wasn't just any vessel. It was invisible to radar, completely silent, and hiding a secret so dangerous that boarding it would trigger a chain of events no one could stop. As their patrol boat pulled closer, the crew realized the blue vessel was massive, way bigger than it looked from a distance. Its design was bizarre, just a few tiny windows, and somehow it never showed up on their radar screens. For something so enormous, it sat dead still in the water, almost like it was waiting for them. The captain, feeling uneasy, ordered 2 of his men to check it out. One of them was Brendan. Brendan didn't want to go, but orders are orders. He stepped onto the mysterious blue boat alongside his partner, John. The 2 of them pressed their faces against the tiny windows, but the inside was pitch black, just a heavy, suffocating silence, broken only by the soft splash of waves against the hull. The whole vessel radiated an eerie, unnatural calm, and that's when Brendan felt it. That ice-cold sensation crawling up his spine, the feeling that something was watching them, that whatever was hiding below deck didn't want to be found. "We have to open it," Brendan told John, pointing at the hatch. With a rusty groan, the hatch creaked open, revealing a ladder descending into pure darkness. Both men froze. Every instinct screamed at them to walk away, but the old sailor on the radio pushed them forward. "Go ahead, we've got your back." That single decision to climb down into that black void is one they would regret for the rest of their lives. The interior was empty. No crew, no captain, nobody. "No one's here?" John whispered, shaken. "So who was driving this thing?" Brendan grabbed his radio to report back, but the signal was cutting in and out. And then it happened. A bone-chilling creak from above. The hatch slammed shut. They were trapped. Back on the patrol boat, pure panic broke out. The crew watched in horror as the hatch sealed itself. The captain screamed into the radio, trying to reach Brendan and John, but the signal was gone. Vanished. Their 2 crew members had just been swallowed alive by a ghost ship. Inside, Brendan and John scrambled up the ladder, hearts hammering against their ribs. Through a small window, they could see their patrol boat, their only lifeline growing smaller as the blue vessel began sinking beneath the waves. Imagine that moment, watching your rescue disappear while you sink into the black depths of the ocean, locked inside a vessel that shouldn't even exist. "What the hell is happening?" Brendan shouted, his panic boiling over. Both men were consumed by fear. They pounded on the hatch with everything they had. Nothing. Within seconds, the vessel was completely submerged, and that's when it hit Brendan. This was never a boat. The radar invisibility, the camouflage, the jammed communications. This was a high-tech stealth submarine, engineered to be invisible to the entire world. But the real question was, why, who built this thing, and where was it taking them? The 2 terrified guards were about to find out. The submarine was now moving on its own, gliding toward an unknown destination. All they could do was wait. Their search led them to the main control console, an ancient-looking relic straight out of the 1980s, covered in heavy buttons and exposed wires. Dead, completely useless. Just as hope was fading, John pointed at a door. Together, they threw their full body weight against it. It didn't budge. Defeated, they slumped to the floor. And that's when the submarine began to vibrate violently. The same deep rumble they felt when it submerged. But this time, they were going up. Brendan and John shot to their feet and dove behind the console, just as the hatch above them swung open. 3 hulking men climbed down, hauling massive packages. Trip after trip after trip. Whatever they were moving, it was a serious payload. What is this place? Brendan thought, his mind racing. These weren't ordinary sailors. These men looked dangerous. After 30 grueling minutes, the job was done. The submarine was emptied out, and the men left, carelessly leaving the hatch wide open. This was their one shot. Brendan led the way up the ladder, and the 2 of them burst out into the freezing sea air, gasping. But relief lasted about 2 seconds. They were in the middle of nowhere, surrounded by 4 gigantic pillars holding up a massive oil rig platform. No patrol boat, no help, and going back down into that submarine, not an option. They had no choice but to climb. Creeping up the ladder toward the platform, they emerged into a scene of organized chaos. Workers hauling boxes, machines moving cargo, everyone laser-focused. Somehow, Brendan and John slipped through undetected and took cover behind a crate. And right then, they witnessed the main event. An older man, mid-60s maybe, dressed sharper than everyone else, clearly the boss, stepped forward to receive a stack of packages. He casually tore open the foil wrapping on one of them, revealing a thick stack of cash. Brendan's eyes went wide. Then the boss signaled, and someone drove a knife into another package. A white powdery substance clung to the blade. The two guards exchanged a look. They knew exactly what they were looking at. And just like that, everything clicked into place. This was a massive trafficking operation running with military-level precision. The invisible submarine was the perfect smuggling machine, delivering cargo without appearing on a single radar screen. And this oil rig, sitting isolated in deep water, was the perfect front, a remote command center and storage hub that no authority would ever think to search. Every layer of this operation was engineered for one purpose: to never be caught. Brendan and John were staring at a criminal empire. The realization hit them with equal parts terror and resolve. They had stumbled into something deadly, but walking away wasn't in their DNA. They were going to bring these people down, but fate had other plans. In that exact moment, the boss's eyes locked onto them. Their hearts stopped. His stare was ice cold and calculating, the kind that freezes your blood. They'd been made, and they knew these criminals weren't the type to leave witnesses. It was do or die. Fueled by pure desperation, they bolted, scrambling toward the rig's control room, searching frantically for any way in, a hidden panel, a secret switch, anything. Every second mattered. Then John spotted it, a tiny, almost invisible button near the base of the door. With a shaking hand, he pressed it. Click. The door creaked open, and they slipped inside, slamming it behind them. The control room was a dizzying maze of blinking lights and complex machinery. They knew what they had to do: kill the submarine before it could be used again. Hands trembling with adrenaline, they tore through the room, hunting for the main power switch. There it was, a huge red lever mounted on the wall. Without a second of hesitation, Brendan grabbed it and pulled with everything he had. The entire rig groaned and shuddered as machinery powered down. Lights flickered, engines died. The submarine, the crown jewel of this entire criminal operation, was now completely dead in the water. They'd done it. Against impossible odds, two ordinary coastal guards had just crippled a sophisticated criminal empire with their bare hands. Brendan and John collapsed onto the floor, exhausted and very much alive. But the fight wasn't over yet. The enraged traffickers realized what had happened and came storming toward the control room, slamming against the door. Their entire smuggling operation, the submarine, the cargo, everything was being dismantled by two men who were supposed to be nobody. But Brendan and John held on, and just when it seemed like the door might give way, salvation arrived. Their patrol crew, who had tracked the rig's location, stormed the platform with police reinforcements pouring in behind them. The traffickers had nowhere to run, surrounded and outmatched. They were arrested on the spot, every single one of them. When the control room doors finally opened, Brendan and John walked out to cheers. They weren't just guards anymore, they were heroes. This was the biggest bust of their entire careers, the kind of story that sounds like a Hollywood blockbuster, except they lived it. So here's my question for you. What would you have done in their position? Would you have climbed down into that submarine? Let me know in the comments below, because stories like this remind us that sometimes ordinary people are capable of extraordinary things.